Hello, Alex Jordan here with your Canfield Weekly Update. We'd like to touch on Good Evening Canfield. We were able to be in attendance, not only in attendance, but also speak at Good Evening Canfield last week at Tippecanoe. What Good Evening Canfield incorporates is updates from not only the city, township, but also schools. So representatives are able to come and speak 10 to 15 minutes on what's happening new in each of our areas. We were able to touch on many different items that are going on that we've touched on already in weekly updates. But one item that I'd like to highlight that we tried to promote that evening was understanding and appreciating what each other has to offer. So we were able to hear how the growth is happening in the township. They have the largest new home builds in the whole county and actually also in the whole Mahoning Valley. So that was surely one positive that they touched on. But there are also movement and growth in business. The city was able to touch on some different growth and expectations that they would like to have within the next 5 to 10 years in what the city of Canfield has to offer and the school system. Why am I bringing this up on a school website? Well, what I'd like to touch on is we're in this together. We not only need support from the city, but township, they need support from us. Many times when you take a look at property value and growth in communities, the one area, the one section that you need to highlight is what the schools are doing. If the schools are not positive, if the schools aren't growing, if the schools are not healthy in many different areas, people very seldom want to move into the community. And our school system is still a closed school system, which means we do not have open enrollment from the outside. So that being said, people have to move into our community. So the health of the township, the health of the city, and the health of the school system adds to the whole community framework. And without communication, collaboration, and working with one another and appreciating one another, the Canfield community as a whole will not continue to grow and will not continue to prosper. So that being said, we talked about the private sector and public sector. Many times we show a lot of appreciation from private sector, which they should get a lot of help and a lot of appreciation, a lot of entrepreneurship, a lot of new business. Those type of private sector positions, jobs, businesses add much to the community. If we don't appreciate one another and appreciate public employees on what we do in the public sector, then we will not grow as a group and have a true appreciation. We need to appreciate one another, what we have to offer one another, and what we're in this for. We're in this for one another and an entire society. So the private sector, yes, important, but public sector, yes, important. We do these jobs to raise our own families, to get compensation. But understand, we're in this for one another. Without a public sector, we don't have a private sector, and vice versa. So we need to make sure that we continue to collaborate and work with one another to benefit not only ourselves, but society as a whole. And ultimately, our youth's watching us. And we also talked about was emotional states of youngsters. We talked about our trauma team, just like we talked about in the past. And we talked about when communications happen and this type of dialogue happens in the home in a negative manner, our youth hears this. So we need to continue to strive to make our society appreciate one another and have good dialogue at home, which in turn our youth will benefit from. The more positive they hear about each other and about their community, the better they feel about our community. We talk about this with the media. The media has a big influence on the effects of what we feel about our own community. We hear about GM Lordstown plant closing, but the possibility of others wanting to purchase the plant and reopen it. Maybe at a different name, but reopen it. That should be promoted as much as the plant closing. So all of the positives that our Mahoning Valley has to offer, we need to continue to drive home and have our youth understand this is a place that they could raise their family someday. staff appreciation. We've talked about this last week about how we appreciate, again, one another, how we appreciate what each other has to offer the school system. We want to send that out. We truly do appreciate everyone that is a part of our chain, a part of our family. We'd like to send it over now to our kiddos and hear from them because, again, we're in this for those folks. So guys, help us out and show our appreciation.
On behalf of all Canfield students, we'd like to thank our
teachers,
administrators, bus drivers,
cafeteria staff,
custodians,
secretaries, and all other
support staff.
Thank you, Canfield staff.
Again, we appreciate each other, private, public sector. We appreciate our staff here at Canfield Local Schools, everybody that supports us. We appreciate not only internal but external. We have several different booster groups, PTA. Folks, we couldn't do it without your help. Your participation shows our youth the importance of what a school system has to offer and what we can do together. Everybody have a great week. Never forget, it's a great time to be a Cardinal.